A disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where LIFTT comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. LIFTT. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at LIFTT have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to LIFTT. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with LIFTT was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo, and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Hello everybody, welcome to Living Well in Montana, a informative show brought to you by LIFTT. LIFTT stands for Living Independently for Today and Tomorrow. We are a non-profit headquartered in Billings, but with another office in Glendive in Dawson County, and we serve 18 counties in South Central and Eastern Montana. Today the viewer is in for a big treat. Our show entitled Beyond the Pavement, the human side of transit planning. We have a very special guest. His name is Jeremy Johnson Miller. He is the NADTC Communication Manager, and he is also LIFTT's point of contact with the organization he represents called NADTC. NADTC stands for National Aging and Disability Transportation Center. As you know, in September 2024, LIFTT received a capital grant to purchase two accessible vehicles to provide transportation services to the aging and disabled population of our service area. We didn't receive the vehicles yet, but they have been ordered. The Montana Department of Transportation promised to deliver them by the end of 2025. However, between having the vehicles and providing the services, there is a lot of challenges, I would say. And those challenges can be summarized in a little word called planning. We had to plan details of the program, how we were going to provide services, to whom, what security measures, what routes we would have, what schedule, how would people schedule the trips, who would pay for the fuel of the vans and things like that. And planning was made possible thanks to another grant that LIFTT received. We call it the Transportation Planning Grant from the NADTC. We also have with us LIFTT's Transportation Coordinator, Tina Carter, and she will be part of this conversation. Jeremy, we are so happy you're here. Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, of course.
Would you please introduce yourself to our viewers? Tell us who you are, what you do, and whatever you need to let us know about the NADTC.
So thank you. I've had a really great welcome party to Billings. This is my first time in Montana. So I live in Des Moines, Iowa. And our headquarters for the National Aging and Disability Transportation Center is in Washington, D.C. But the NADTC, as part of our name, our focus is aging and disability. And our primary projects that we focus on are accessibility of transportation. And so we focus and develop different materials. We have trainings that are available. We work across the entire country, so we're a national program. All of our services are free of charge, and so you can access all of our information on nadtc.org. And so my primary role is communications manager, and I manage our newsletter that goes out every month, as well as we put out reports and we put out different materials for people to use. And so, but the reason why I'm here today is for we've been working with LIFTT for not yet a year, but they applied, and we chose them because we saw some good potential here, especially in the rural areas of Montana, to reach a lot of people. And so we took a chance on LIFTT, and they've really excelled beyond our thoughts that we initially had. And we initially set some targets, and they were really low to begin with, and we had to really adjust those numbers early on because we were getting a lot of really good responses with surveys and good responses on social media for the need of transportation in rural Montana. So we've been really happy with how everything has gone with the grant, and happy to be here. I'll be here for a couple days and working with the staff and helping out with whatever I can.
Thank you, Jeremy. When we applied for the grant with NADTC for the planning, we knew how complex the project was. Mm-hmm. And I confess that we were scared because we didn't have technical assistance except the communication with the Montana Department of Transportation, but the NADTC information and how the grantees share their projects with each other helped us overcome many hurdles, many barriers, and we now feel safe that the policies and procedures are almost completed and in place, and we'll feel confident, although I know there will be several other hurdles and barriers that we will have to overcome. But for that, we have Tina Carter, our transportation coordinator. She has been working with the LIFTT for a few months now, and I wouldn't hesitate to say that Tina is a fast learner, and she absorbs information. She's attending conferences, workshops, and she is already speaking the language of transportation, because this is one of my conclusions after working on this project for a year. It's like learning a new language. Mm-hmm. There are terms and expressions, concepts, ideas that people use on a conversation about transportation, and they know the meaning behind it. But for a layperson like me, I had to learn everything. It's easier for Tina, and Tina will also help us keep the conversation going in today's show. Tina?
I just want to say that I am really excited for this program. When I first started, what we had to do was get surveys from people in our 18 counties. So we did extensive outreach. We went to each of these counties. We went to nursing homes. We went to senior citizen centers. Anywhere we could find people to fill out our surveys. And in the end, we ended up with 521 surveys completed. And we compiled that information, and we found out the greatest needs that people talked about was accessible transportation and affordable transportation. And being from Glendive, we have GMC hospital there, but if anybody needs to go to a specialist, then they are referred to doctors here in Billings. And there are people in Glendive, Baker, Ekalaka, anywhere in eastern Montana that does not have the ability to get to Billings. And that is really sad that people can't get care because they can't get to their doctors. So with this grant and the 2 vehicles that are being made, we are going to be able to go into these communities and see to it that these people get to their appointments. So it's really exciting. There's a lot of people excited about it. It just can't get here soon enough, but time goes so fast. It'll be here before we know it. We still have a lot of work to do, in the planning. So I have been talking to some of the other managers of the transits in the counties, you know, to find out if they have certain days that they go to Billings, what software do they use, you know, how do they schedule. So I've been trying to find that stuff out. There's no need for me to start off if there's something really good out there that, you know, we could use.
Thank you, Gina.
Can I add something too? That as part of our grant program, we had 10 other grantees that we chose to be a part of the project as well, from across the country. And Carlos mentioned that we have regular meetings that all of the grantees come together on a virtual network, and we can all talk together, and they all share what they're doing. They're sharing experiences. That's what, and I think Tina has made some good connection, and the other staff have been able to learn from that. And so that's another part of what we like to do with our grants, is bring everyone together and learn together. So we're not all struggling on our own, and especially for brand new transportation programs like LIFTT, where just understanding what other people are doing is really important, in that you're not just trying to figure it out on your own, and that we're a bigger network together.
Our nation is so big and so diverse, and each state is different from another, each county is different from another. So knowing the context and where the transportation program is going to be created and the people that it will serve is very important. We can't implant in Montana, in rural Montana, a transportation service similar to the one implanted in rural California or rural Iowa or something like that, because the context is different. And that's something that really scared us, because a LIFTT service area comprises 18 different counties. And the distance between point A to point B in our service area is 400 kilometers or miles. I think it's miles. And it takes 5 hours to go from point A to point B. And that per se is an expression of how difficult it is to provide people with transportation. Not only difficult, but costly. So I would like to ask you, Jeremy, what is the most common challenge that your grantees deal with and overcome?
I would say conveying the message of what is available, and how to get access to the service. People in rural areas think that they don't have access to transportation, and I think that's what you're trying to achieve, is have vehicles available. And so how do you get that message out to people? Sometimes it's through mailings or through brochures that Tina and her team are trying to do and get out there and tell people. But sometimes it's through social media, because someone in their rural home that maybe not have a close enough neighbor to have that contact with somebody, they're seeing it on their laptop or their phone that this might be available. And so systems like yourself have to rely on social media or newspaper or something like that to get the word out, and I think that's really valuable, that I know that you're working with
Lee Enterprises
and the Gazette to get that word out, to reach all of those areas, to let people know. And I think that's what people struggle with, is what is available and how do I get access to that service. Where
C7 TV is one of our strategic partners. So the show we are recording today is one of the ways we communicate with people because, as you said, we serve the aging and the disabled population from 0 to 100 years old. And there are different people and they consume information in different ways. And we are always mindful of paying attention to them. But LIFTT's biggest challenge starting the grant was to create a vision and a mission statement, because we had to stop and look at LIFTT, look at ourselves and the people we exist to serve, and ask ourselves, what are we here to do? How the transportation services will complement what we already serve the people. What are the people's needs? And like Tina said, their need number one was reliable and accessible transportation that would take them to medical appointments. That was their priority. The second priority we identified was shopping. You know, the other day, Tina and her co-workers were telling me that in rural Montana, they don't have grocery stores like Walmart or Sam's Club or Costco, much less shopping malls. So it is in LIFTT's, let's say, plans to have number one, trips to attend health care appointments. Number two, trips to shopping trips. Number three, recreation, education, and employment. But we also wrote in our vision and mission statements that the purpose, the goal of the transportation program we are creating is to step into the gap, because there are transportation services providers out there, but they have fixed routes, they are not flexible, they are not curb to curb, and there are gaps that people need to be transported to, and we are willing to fill those gaps. And for that to happen, Tina is communicating with the other transportation service providers to find out what those gaps are and offer a partnership for us to step in.
We let them know that we don't want to take over their program, we want to enhance their program, because there are some people in their areas that you know, their bus is either full or it's not, something happens, they don't have a driver, you know, for that day that they need to go. So we just want to enhance their program, not take over, so that all of our counties can serve more people.
Do you have other grantees that have a similar mission and vision?
Of course. They're all exploring new services, and that was what our goal for these grants were, to help people get something off the ground. And so a part of every grant is we wanted everyone to do surveys. We wanted everyone to convene a table of people to talk about the needs and the gaps in their area, because the last thing you want to do is recreate something that already exists.
Exactly.
Because if you start up and then discover that someone's already doing it, then what's the point? So being able to provide, maybe it is providing a grocery service, you know, once or twice a week. Maybe that is the gap.
Yeah, because over in Glendive, you know, we don't have fast food, so we get excited when we come to Billings, we can't even decide where to
Sure.
to eat. You know, there's a Subway, and then there's, you know, just regular restaurants. But there's 2 grocery stores. But as far as shopping and for clothing, you know, even underwear, there's nowhere in Glendive even, you know, close to get that. So our nearest place to shop would be Miles City, which is 75 miles. And if you don't have a vehicle, then you're just, you know,
Right.
and even if you have a vehicle and you're older, you may not want to drive, you know, feel comfortable driving that distance. So.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point, that you know, traditional transportation, like in bigger cities, they can take you to a lot of different places, but bigger cities have all the amenities. But when you're talking about rural Montana, you may not even have a dollar store, or you may not even have. You may have a gas station, but they only have junk food, or they may not even have basic amenities like you were talking. So that's what transportation should be about, is accessing that, and through planning and discovering what people need and asking the people. That's what's really important, where, you know, here in Billings, they have this fixed route system that can access a lot of services. But what about the people that live outside a mile of the fixed route? How do they get to where they need to go?
Yeah, there are lots of problems, but through the planning that NADTC made possible, we learned that there are many solutions. As a matter of fact, I would say there are more solutions than problems, because Montana is a wonderful state. It's a joy to be a citizen of rural Montana. And it's always a learning experience to be part of a non-profit organization like LIFTT that provides human services to a wonderful population, and work with them to seek those unusual and outside the box solutions. We are grateful for the grant we received from the NADTC. We are grateful for the friends we made, not only the other grantees, but the team of NADTC, and the selfless way you shared information with us. You taught us a lot. And you know what? Whatever you taught us regarding the planning of a transportation program can be used for any new program that LIFTT will create in the future. From creating a budget, performance standards, and then a phase planning project with policies and procedures, is a lesson that we will carry with us for as long as we work at LIFTT. So thank you very much, Jeremy, and all team from NADTC.
It's our pleasure.
And that depletes our time with you. Please stay tuned. We'll be here next week talking about the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Believe it or not, it's wonderful to be an American citizen with a disability, because life does not end when you find out you are growing old and you will have one or two or more disabilities, because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. We will see you soon. Meanwhile, continue to living well in Montana. Thank you.